Hi, Dino Longera here at Majestic Arms, and I'm very anxious to show you our newest product. It's something we've been working on for a long time. This is the gold standard tactical trigger. You spoke and we listened. We paid attention to what you wanted. We know people love the straight style tactical triggers, so we designed one for you. What we did a little bit differently is the face of the trigger has a very gentle radius to it. Promotes a better grip to the finger, better control. We gave it fine cut 30 line per inch serrations to give it just the right amount of texture for the perfect amount of trigger control. What you'll notice on the bottom is we gave it a little memory bump, and that's to promote proper finger placement on the trigger for consistent placement each and every time. Gives you the very best level of trigger control shot to shot. Now what we did differently, again, you spoke, we listened. You wanted an over travel and pre-travel adjustment screw. So we gave those to you. On the bottom is the pre-travel adjustment, and it can be set to give you the shortest possible stroke on the trigger. On top is your over travel adjustment screw, and again that can be set to give you a nice crisp clean let off. What I'd like to point out is that these triggers were designed to work in all of the guns. In the past I did make dedicated triggers for different frames, and we decided not to do it that way. You can put this in either of the Mark IIIs, either the plastic 2245 or the steel frame, and also either of the Mark IV series, either the polymer frame 2245 or the metallic frame. But then the one thing we decided to do, we wanted to give you what you wanted, but then we also decided to give you something you didn't know you could have. We're going to coin a new phrase in the world of pistol shooting, and it's called length of pull, something normally associated with rifles and shotguns. What's different about this trigger is a two-piece design. The trigger shoe, the bottom piece, rides in a T-slotted tracking in the upper piece, just like the clamps of a milling machine for ultimate strength. And this time I'll put my glasses on to demonstrate. All you need to do is you loosen the 1/16 of an inch Allen key that locks the shoe to the upper component. And now the shoe has a full range of 3/8 of an inch adjustment from the front to the back. So whether you've got big hands or small hands, you'll find your own perfect sweet spot. Whether you like to shoot off the tip of your finger or you like to grab around and do the first knuckle, you'll find the perfect sweet spot to give you the best level of trigger control. I personally like to put it up a little bit further forward. I also tend to have bigger hands. Now the trigger gave us a little bit of an engineering challenge, but it turned out to be a wonderful benefit. I'll show you what the original setup looks like. You've got your trigger, disconnector bar, and spring and plunger. And the spring and the plunger sits at a certain height relative to the disconnector bar. The little bit of a challenge that we had was, because of the track work, we could not drill the hole for the trigger's return spring as deep as would be normal. And it turned out to be a double benefit, and I'll show you how that works. Put in the factory spring. What we wound up doing was reinventing the plunger. Instead of the plunger sitting up on top of the spring, the plunger is now a stainless steel cup that sits over the spring and encapsulates the spring. And we came up with two great benefits. Number one, now that the spring is completely encapsulated, it is shielded from dirt and foreign material. But the other thing was, now the plunger is a larger diameter and we slightly offset it. And the beauty to that and the benefit to that was we have more purchase area on the disconnector bar, which gives a much more even and consistent pressure on the disconnector bar, which equals a quicker return and reset. So now you have a trigger with an actual tactile return and reset. And that is really a great feature in a tactical style trigger. The other thing is, I know what you're thinking. When you look at these two screws in the front of the trigger, you're going to say to yourself, oh my God, this is going to be a monster of a job to adjust the two screws. It really isn't. There's a trick, and I can even just show you the basics of the trick right now, where you can access these two screws without actually removing the trigger from the gun. Let me show you how that works. We have a 2245 Mark IV frame assembly here, and we've got one of our gold standard tactical triggers installed with a factory disconnector and hammer and sear arrangement. What I did was, if you know how to do the job, just merely dismantle the gun, put in whatever hammer and sear combination you're going to work with, put in your trigger, but leave out your magazine latch, leave out the retaining spring for the mag latch, and leave out the bolt stop assembly, and make sure you take out the little spring there so you don't lose it. So now I've got the entire frame put together, and I want to do my pre-travel adjustment. Very, very simplistic. Push on the pin, the pin will slide right out. And now at this point, take the trigger, hold the disconnector bar, and it all hinges right up like lifting the hood of your car. Make your adjustments. The bottom screw is 40 threads per inch. What that equals is I like to teach people to put the Allen key in and picture the face of a clock. Each 1 hour moves the screw 2/1000ths of an inch, so you can be very, very precise. The top screw is a 32 thread per inch screw. Again, put the Allen key in, picture the face of a clock. Each 1 hour of the clock moves the screw approximately 3/1000ths of an inch. When you go back, just bring this back down, put your trigger pin back in, and you can continuously make your adjustments and be precise. When you're done and you're happy, merely put your magazine latch, retaining spring, and bolt stop assembly back into the frame, and you're all set and good to go. The other thing I might have forgotten to point out with the gold standard tactical trigger that we did differently, it'll fit any combination of hammer and sear and internal components. It doesn't matter if Jimmy Clark did a trigger job 20 years ago or you did one last night with a different brand of parts, the gold standard tactical trigger will work with them all. Just to show you, here's one installed in a Mark III 2245. And with our cut disconnector bar and the pre-travel adjustment, you can see how short that stroke really is. We've gotten you as close to a single stage trigger pull as you can get. Here's one in a metallic framed Mark IV. And again, they fit, they function in them all. Here's one in a 2245 Mark IV. This is one of the original handmade prototypes, so the finish is a little bit different. And just conversely, here's one in a cutaway Mark III frame, one of the original prototypes that's unfinished. They fit and function in all the Rugers. You spoke and we listened. We gave you not just what you wanted, not just what you asked for, but something you didn't even know you can have, an adjustable length of pull in a pistol. This feature has usually only been associated with very expensive Olympic-style pistols. We now bring it to you for all of the Ruger pistols. Thank you very much for buying MajesticArms products and giving me this opportunity to bring you something new.